of human rights activists in Iran, or HRA. HRA is an organization based in Iran and has been targeted by the Iranian government for its reporting of human rights violations several times. Mr. Sariri has represented HRA in panel discussions and briefings, including the 2010 Geneva Summit for Human Rights, Tolerance, and Democracy. Please.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for providing us with a forum to call attention to the increasingly deteriorating human rights situation in Iran. First, I would like to apologize for the absence of Mr. Batebi today. Due to unexpected circumstances, he was unable to join us. I would also like to add that his family has recently come under increased pressure by the Iranian government to an attempt to force Mr. Batebi to return to Iran, where he will undoubtedly face arrest, torture, and possibly execution. Iran's gross violations of human rights are not a new phenomenon. In only the past 14 months, at least 78,942 violations have been recorded by my organization alone. Almost 900 of these are related to executions. Aside from hundreds of unjustified prisoners and the tortures and repression, around 40 political prisoners are now waiting on death row. Just recently, 5 political prisoners were executed after being falsely accused and without being afforded the proper legal recourse. As a representative of the human rights activists in Iran, I would like to take this time to convey my organization's and the overall Iranian public's viewpoints regarding this matter. Rather than focusing on Iran's record-high execution rate, which includes child executions, public executions, includes public lashings, limb cutting, the status of homosexuals, persecution of religious minorities, repression of civil, social, and political activists, journalists, students, and women, we find it prudent that at this juncture we focus on measures that must be taken by the international community to hold the Iranian government accountable for its actions. We believe, instead of focusing on statistics, we should focus on our stance and our solution to fight these violations in Iran. It has been over 30 years that the Islamic Republic of Iran has systematically violated human rights. While the international community is working for free flow of information, the Iranian government has been active in filtering and blocking the web access to activists and concerned citizens in Iran. This has gone to the extent that many blogging websites have been forced to delete profiles of citizen bloggers. After China, Iran holds the record of highest number of blocked websites in the world. After the disputed presidential elections, what ensued was the hacking of numerous websites. This was also mentioned before by a group named Iran Cyber Army that has affiliated with the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. 29 of our HRA affiliated websites were also hacked in this process to prevent the spread of news and information. The Iranian government went as far as labeling us as being part of an American cyber network. In response to the Iranian government's increasing brutality against its people, the international community has responded with condemnations. As you may already be aware, the UN has condemned Iran repeatedly as a violator of human rights. Aside from the human rights violations in Iran, it is the lack of an enforcement mechanism that holds Iran accountable for its actions that is proving to be a great challenge to activists in Iran. It is exactly for that reason that Ahmadinejad and other Iranian officials label these international resolutions as nothing but useless pieces of scrap paper. Case in point, on the exact day that the European Union condemned Iran as a violator of human rights, Iran, with flagrant disregard of the international community, executed 11 prisoners en masse. So it is naive to believe by releasing statements we can fight the vast human rights violations inside Iran. Just recently, despite an unprecedented international outcry against the imminent execution of Farzad Kamangad, a teacher, the Iranian government with blatant disregard executed Farzad away from the public eye and without following the protocol laid out within the Islamic Republic of Iran's own laws. Although such statements and condemnations often placate Iranians living abroad, inside Iran, the situation tells us of a different story. Having faced repression for 3 decades, Iranians view these statements as useless and insufficient. Ladies and gentlemen, in an effort to truly affect the human rights situation in Iran, the international community must go forward and institute enforcement mechanisms holding Iran accountable. My organization believes that the only way we can fight the systematic violation of human rights inside Iran, we must make every violation for the Iranian government costly. Today, unfortunately, because of the international community's interests, we see all attention focused on Iran's nuclear issue at the expense of human rights. The HRA calls on the international community to impose sanctions that put political and economic pressure on the Iranian government. We distinguish between the interests of the Iranian people and the interests of the Iranian government. We also believe that the other organizations claiming to be defending the rights of the Iranian people to put the issue of human rights on the top of their agenda rather than feverishly sanctions on Iran regarding its nuclear program. We, like many other Iranian activists, oppose any military action or sanctions that and its infrastructure put the people of Iran under hardship. And let me distinguish between the interests of the people and the interests of the government of Iran by providing a few examples. 1. Denial of visas for government officials and Iranian diplomats attempting to attend UN meetings or international conferences. Many members of Iran's security apparatus travel freely around the world and work with companies to assure their financial stability and to protect the system. 2. Sanctions that target the Iranian government, its suppression machine, and the Revolutionary Guard would send a clear message. The banning of sale of technology, which was also mentioned earlier, by foreign companies that provide the government with the ability to suppress activists. Due to this technology, hundreds of activists were arrested, imprisoned, tortured, and executed. Such sanctions and restrictions put Iran's government under pressure and are good examples of targeting Iran's government's interests. With such measures, it will send a clear message to the people of Iran that the international community truly stands with them. This will also send a clear message to the Iranian government that the world will not ignore its systematic violations.
Thank you very much, Shaheen. Like I said earlier, there are tons of material that we have to cover today, but just to go on some of the topics.